The time had come for the Jewish Festival of Tabernacles. Jerusalem was filling with people from every direction. Tents were being built. Lamps were being lit. Songs of remembrance echoed through the streets. This festival remembered how God had provided for His people in the wilderness, water from the rock, guidance by fire, shelter in the desert. It was a celebration of provision and presence. And yet, in the middle of this sacred season, Jesus remained in Galilee. His brothers came to Him, not in faith, but in challenge. They said, "Leave Galilee and go to Judea, so that your disciples there may see the works you do. No one who wants to become a public figure acts in secret." Even His own family did not believe in Him. Their words sounded logical, but their hearts were distant. Jesus answered them calmly. He said, "My time is not yet here. For you, any time will do." He said the world cannot hate them, but it hates Him because He testifies that its works are evil. He told them to go to the festival without Him, and after they had left, He stayed behind, quiet, waiting, obedient to the Father's timing. But later, Jesus did go up to the festival, not publicly, not loudly, but quietly. And in Jerusalem, people whispered about Him. Some said, "He is a good man." Others said, "No, He deceives the people." But no one spoke openly for fear of the leaders. Midway through the festival, Jesus went up to the temple courts and began to teach. His words carried authority. His wisdom cut through confusion. The people were amazed and asked, "How did this man get such learning without having been taught?" Jesus answered them with humility and truth. He said, "My teaching is not my own. It comes from the one who sent me." He said anyone who chooses to do the will of God will know whether his teaching comes from God or whether he speaks on his own. He exposed their hypocrisy. He said they accused Him of breaking the Sabbath for healing a man, yet they themselves circumcised on the Sabbath to keep the law of Moses. He said, "Stop judging by mere appearances, but instead judge correctly." Some of the people of Jerusalem began to question. They said, "Isn't this the man they are trying to kill? Here He is speaking publicly, and they are not saying a word to Him." Others wondered if the leaders believed He was the Messiah, but confusion spread. They argued about where the Messiah would come from. They thought they knew Jesus' origin, but they did not understand His divine source. Jesus cried out in the temple courts, "Yes, you know me, and you know where I am from. But I am not here on my own authority. The one who sent me is true." He said they did not know God, but He knew Him, because He was sent by Him. They tried to seize Him, but no one laid a hand on Him, because His hour had not yet come. Still, many believed in Him. They said, "When the Messiah comes, will He perform more signs than this man?" The Pharisees heard the crowd whispering these things, and they sent temple guards to arrest Him. Jesus said, "I am with you for only a short time, and then I am going to the one who sent me. You will look for me, but you will not find me." They were confused. They did not understand His words. Truth often sounds strange to those not ready to hear it. On the last and greatest day of the festival, the day when water was poured out to remember God's provision in the wilderness, Jesus stood and cried out with a loud voice, not quietly now, not hidden. He said, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them." He was speaking about the Spirit, whom those who believed in Him would later receive. This was not just an invitation. This was a promise. a promise of life flowing from within, not just poured from without. When the people heard his words, they were divided. Some said, "Surely this man is the prophet." Others said, "He is the Messiah." Still others argued, "How can the Messiah come from Galilee?" The crowd was split. Truth does that. It reveals hearts. It separates opinions. It forces a decision. Some wanted to seize him, but no one laid a hand on him. The temple guards returned to the chief priests and Pharisees without arresting him. They were asked, "Why didn't you bring him in?" And the guards answered simply, "No one ever spoke the way this man does." Even those sent to arrest him were stopped by his words. The Pharisees mocked them and said, "Has any of the rulers or of the Pharisees believed in him?" They dismissed the crowd as ignorant. But one man spoke up. Nicodemus, the same man who came to Jesus at night. He asked, "Does our law condemn a man without first hearing him to find out what he has been doing?" They ridiculed him too. They said, "Are you from Galilee too?" And the chapter ends in division. No arrest, no agreement, only truth standing firm and hearts exposed. John chapter 7 shows us that Jesus does not force belief. He speaks truth and lets hearts decide. Some whisper, some argue, some believe, some walk away. Some are afraid to speak, some are bold enough to stand. But the invitation remains the same. If you are thirsty, come, drink, and let living water flow. This chapter reminds us that following Jesus will not always be popular. It may divide rooms, it may challenge traditions, it may cost reputation, but it always leads to life. And the question echoes still. Will you come quietly? Will you come boldly? Or will you walk away thirsty?